And now, a story from the Appleseed.
Now, I don't know about you, but my parents used to drive me crazy. See, the world, according to my mother, is divided into two major groups. There is those whose fault it is, and her. And she spends most of her life telling you all about it, and especially about the one whose fault it always is. My father. Now, my father's world is a little more complicated than that. See, his main goal in life is to be left alone, in peace and quiet, to contemplate. He abhors any form of conflict, so he spends most of his life pacifying and avoiding, especially my mother. Now, if anyone would have told me this story, I would have said pure fiction. Could not happen. But friends, I was there. And this is what happened. It was the summer of 1991, and I had just given birth to my first baby. My parents came all the way from Jerusalem, Israel, to Davis, California, for the birth of their first grandchild and to help. It was one of those lovely days in Davis, California, when the temperature reaches a gentle 115 Fahrenheit in the shade. My baby was 3 days old, and my mother was helping. No? Are you coming to eat? What are you doing? I made you a salad. I cut it very small for you. Oh, what are you doing? Are you nursing again? I am oh, look at the poonim. Look at the face of this baby. So beautiful. But I'm telling you, you pick her up the minute she whimpers. You are not letting her cry. She needs to develop her lungs. I'm telling you, you nurse all night. You are spoiling the baby. By noon, I was praying for divine intervention. Or at the very least, earplugs. By 2 p.m., I was ready to throw myself off the roof. But to spare my newborn the future of being a motherless child, I decide to send my mother to the mall. I figure it's about 20, 30 minutes each way, at least an hour. I gave her a long list. That's almost 2 hours of peace and quiet. It's priceless. Now, my mother refuses to drive in America, so she recruits my father. Now, my father is a retired university professor. Extremely brilliant and very quick when it comes to thinking, reading, writing. But all other walks of this world, the chief among them driving, fall into a hazy twilight zone of slow motion. And the more stressed he is, the slower he functions. Now, he has never driven our 1985 Ford Tempo manual drive. He has not been on an American highway for more than 20 years, but for me, for his beloved daughter, my father was willing to risk his life and enter an American freeway. And so they were out the door, both of them. And I was enjoying the first 10 minutes of quiet since the birth of my baby when the door burst open and my mother storms in. Efo, where is he? What? Where could he be? Wait, didn't you just both walk out to the parking lot? No, I'm telling you, this man, he's driving me crazy. We went down to the parking lot. I opened the back door of the car to put my head on the windowsill, and it was so hot in there. It was like a furnace in there. I said to him, turn on the air conditioner. You know, you have to tell him everything. I was so angry, I slammed the door. I sat on the sidewalk in the shade to wait for the car to cool down. And he starts to drive. I thought he's turning the car around, but I've been sitting there now for 10 minutes. Where could he be? Wait a minute. What do you mean he starts to drive? Did he say where he's going? How should I know? I'm sitting on the sidewalk. But did he see that you... What is there to see? It was like a furnace in there. Who can sit in such heat? But did you tell... What is there to tell? I said, turn on the air conditioner. And I could just see it. I could just see the picture slowly zooming into focus. My father's head barely visible above the wheel. His hands gripping so tight the knuckles are white to attention he dares not let go, not even to push the glasses that are sliding down his sweaty nose. My father is bracing himself to enter the American freeway hell. And so it was close to an hour later that the door opened and my father walks in. Oh, איפה את? Where are you? Where are you? I drove to the mall. I parked the car and I turned around and you're not there. You only noticed I wasn't in the car when you parked in the mall? Well, I noticed it was a little quiet in the back. But Kukile, I was driving on the freeway. My husband was laughing so hard, he was practically sprawled on the floor. But of course, these were not his parents. All I wanted at that moment was to scream, why, oh why am I related to this dysfunctional duo? And at that moment, my baby stopped nursing and looked up at me with big wonder in her eyes. And my mother said, Oy, look at the ponim, look at the face, she's smiling. She is not smiling, Ima. She is 3 days old. She's smiling at her grandmother. You tell her, you are the university professor of child development. Objectively speaking, is she smiling or not? Objectively speaking, of course she's smiling. She is precocious. And I looked at them, the two familiar faces, peering over my baby. His pacifying demeanor, her righteous anger, transforming right before me into the loving glow of naches. Naches. It's a wonderful Yiddish word. It means when the heart is so full, it's just overflowing with love and joy. His hand slightly resting on her shoulder, her head gently tilted towards him. My completely impossible, totally crazy, joined at the hip, naches-filled parents till death do them part. What could I possibly say? I looked at my baby and I said, baby, love comes in all sorts of strange packages. Meet your grandparents. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for a story from the Appleseed.